The wives of the Prophet Muhammad are also known as Ummahatul Mu'minin, which means mothers of the believers, are women who were married to the Prophet Muhammad. Muslims usually use the term Ummul Mu'minin or Ummul Mu'minin before or after the names of Muhammad's wives as a form of respect. The wives of the Prophet Muhammad numbered 13 people, and all of them were chosen women who had noble character, were experts in worship, and were not even ashamed to associate with the poor. Allah allowed Prophet Muhammad to marry more than 4 women. This marriage is not a marriage based on lust, but with the aim of preaching. Of course, the wives of the Prophet Muhammad were not just any women. They are all great women who are very obedient in carrying out God's commands. In fact, most of these women were married by the Prophet Muhammad at the behest of Allah. Khadijah bint Khuwaylid. Prophet Muhammad's first wife was Sidi Khadijah binti Khuwaylid bin Asad bin Abdul Uzza bin Qushay bin Kilab bin Murrah bin Ka'b bin Lu'ay bin Khalid bin Fahr bin Malik bin Nadir bin Kanana al-Qurayzi al-Asadiyah. His parents were highly respected among the Quraysh community, even among Quraysh leaders. Although he comes from the Quraysh tribe, his family adheres to noble character. Her family was very rich, but also very generous, so that Sidi Khadijah grew up to be a woman of noble character as well. At the time of marriage to the Prophet Muhammad, he was already 40 years old. From her marriage to the Prophet, Sidi Khadijah gave birth to 6 children, each named Qasim, Abdullah, Zainab, Ruqayya, Kulthum and Fatima. Sauda bint Zam'a. The Prophet Muhammad married Sauda after the death of Khadijah in the same month, Ramadan, the 10th year after his prophethood, 3 years before the Hijrah. Sauda's father was still alive and the Prophet Muhammad married her. Sauda died 57 years after he married the Prophet Muhammad, namely in the month of Shawwal in the 54th year of Hijriya. The death of Sidi Khadijah made the Prophet Muhammad feel deep sorrow, and his friends were also concerned about what had happened to him. So that the companions of the Prophet Muhammad then sent Khawla bint Hakim as Salama, who was the wife of Uthman bin Maz'un. Khawla bint Hakim as Salama was sent to meet and motivate the Prophet Muhammad to be interested in remarrying. From Khawla, who was sent, the Prophet Muhammad chose Sauda. Sauda bint Zam'a is a widow because she was previously married to Sukran bin Amr. From this first marriage, a child named Abdullah was born. Sauda bin Zam'a became the first wife of the Prophet Muhammad after Sidi Khadijah died. At that time, Sauda bint Zam'a was 55 years old and the Prophet Muhammad was only 50 years old. Sauda bint Zam'a herself is a woman who likes to give alms and has a noble character. Aisha, daughter of Abu Bakr. The Prophet Muhammad twice dreamed that Aisha was brought by an angel to be his soul mate. Assuming it was a provision from Allah that had to be carried out, Prophet Muhammad also asked Aisha's father, namely Abu Bakr, to give his daughter to be his wife. Abu Bakr initially objected to this, because according to him, the Prophet Muhammad and himself were brothers. However, after being convinced that he and the Prophet Muhammad were only brothers in religion, and Aisha was lawful to be married to the Prophet Muhammad, the doubts in Abu Bakr's heart were lifted. Aisha was married by the Prophet Muhammad when Aisha was 6 or 7 years old, and at that time the Prophet Muhammad was 50 years old. However, Aisha was only brought to the Prophet Muhammad's house and accompanied by him when Aisha was already 9 years old, because at that time Aisha was sick and her hair was falling out. This is narrated mutawatir, en masse, in the Kutub as-Sitta, which are the 6 main Islamic hadith books. So there is no doubt in it. Aisha herself was famous for her intelligence and strong memory, so she was able to memorize many things. Because of his intelligence and memory, he was often used as a place to ask questions by the companions of the Prophet Muhammad. In fact, he was included in the group of people who narrated a lot of hadith. It is even stated that he ranks 4th in this regard after Abu Hurairah, Abdullah bin Umar and Anas bin Malik. There are many romantic stories that happened between the Prophet Muhammad and Aisha. The Prophet Muhammad knew his wife so well that he could distinguish when his wife was angry or happy, even though Aisha had hidden her feelings neatly. Hafsa bint Umar bin Khattab. When the Prophet Muhammad married Hafsa, she was around 19 years old. She is the daughter of one of the richest people from the Quraysh tribe and a friend of the Prophet Muhammad, Umar bin Khattab. Umar was so rich that Hafsa asked him for something himself instead of the Prophet Muhammad. Hafsa was married to Concise bin Hudzafa as Sami, but he died while fighting in the Battle of Badr. Then Umar went and offered Hafsa to Uthman bin Affan. However, Uthman could not answer directly, so he asked Umar to wait a few days. After a few days, Uthman came back to Umar and said that it was not the time to get married. After that, Umar went and offered his son to Abu Bakr. Umar became angry because Abu Bakr did not answer. The Prophet Muhammad then asked Hafsa to marry him. Not long after, Abu Bakr came to Umar and told him he would be happy to marry Hafsa. However, because he knew Prophet Muhammad wanted Hafsa, he did not answer. A major factor in the events that led to the Prophet Muhammad not visiting his wives for a month and the revelation of verses threatening them that he might divorce them all and find something better for them. This happened because Hafsa and Aisha told other wives of the Prophet Muhammad about something he did. Zainab, daughter of Khuzaima. Zainab bint Khuzaima was from the wealthy Banu Hilal clan. When she married Prophet Muhammad, she was around 30 years old. Because of her passion to help the poor, she was nicknamed Masakin. He had married Ubaidah bin al-Harith before marrying the Prophet Muhammad, but he died in the Battle of Badr. The Prophet Muhammad proposed marriage in the 31st month after the migration, but Zainab died 8 months later. Hindan bint Abi Umayyah, Salama. Prophet Muhammad married Hindan when he was about 28 years old. He came from one of the richest clans in Quraysh, the Mughira clan. She has a child named Salama, so she has a kunya or the nickname Salama. Like the Prophet Muhammad, who was often called Abul Qasim because he had a son named Qasim who died when he was young. Before being married to the Prophet Muhammad, she was married to Abdullah bin Abdul-Asad, who died of wounds in battle during the Battle of Uhud. He was further angered after being sent back by the Prophet Muhammad to fight against Qatan, where the tribe of Banu Asad bin Khuzaima lived. Thus, we have made a video about who the wives of the Prophet Muhammad are. For the first part, there are 6 of his wives, while for the 7 wives of the Prophet Muhammad, there will be in the next video. Thank you for watching.